Cinthia, I've already been to the Redondo Beach, Redondo Cannery Studios when I first met you, and I saw 4 pieces of your work. I stepped in here today. I was absolutely staggered. You've got maybe...
Oh, a lot more. Maybe 50. Maybe, well, I do it full time. I paint and I do bronzes. I sculpt and I make jewelry. And
is this for commission, some of this?
Some of it is for commission. And a lot of it I just do it out of my heart. I just feel like doing it, so I do it.
Oh, I can tell from some of the pieces that that's the case.
Yeah, that's
Now, and the jewelry. I walked in the kitchen and I saw all this really nice jewelry, and well, how do you get the iridescent bit?
The iridescent it's a glass. It's called dichroic glass, and I cut out the pieces of glass and I compose it like abstract painting, and then I layer it. It might have 8 layers of glass, and then it slumps down. It's called slumping in a kiln. It melts down. It wants to be 1/4 of an inch thick. So the whole thing melts down into 1/4 of an inch thick, even if it was taller than that in the beginning. And then when you take it out of the kiln, it's smooth on the sides instead of a rough cut, and it's all melted together into a little painting.
That's so cute. I mean, that's a sort of a guesstimate kind of thing. Sometimes you're not so good and other times you get bad, or is it temperature driven?
It actually, I know what I'm doing. When I do it, I don't just put a bunch of broken glass together. I actually cut it out and I compose it. And then when it melts down, it's still a surprise. When you get it out, you're anxious to see what it'll look like. But it's... Oh, yeah. Well, heifer is it's my favorite charity, and I heard about it first in my church, although it's not a church, it's not a religious organization. But it's just a really good charity because they present animals to real rural areas where they can't get any help from the city. It's too far away. So they seek out really rural, needy areas, and then they select a family or a community that could use a domestic animal to really elevate their lifestyle and help raise them out of poverty on their own. So once they present the animal to them, then if it's a cow, if they have refrigeration, they'll give them a cow maybe, and then that will provide milk for them and cheese and all different, manure, lots of different things that a cow provides to grow whatever they need.
Are we talking Africa and India?
All over the world. They have about 123 countries, including the United States and Appalachia, where they're very needy people that need protein in their diet. And so they'll determine what would be best for them. If they don't have a refrigerator, they'll give them a goat, and that'll make 16 cups of milk a day, whereas a cow will give 16 gallons of milk a day. So if they have a refrigerator and they can use that for their family and then sell the rest in the village, then they can send their kids to school, and it raises the whole village up, so they pay for the teachers.
And that's www.heifer.org.
Yes.
Okay, now another question I have. What came first, the sculpting or the painting?
It's such a hard question. I remember when I was a little, when I was in kindergarten, I sculpted an elephant. And it was the first time I ever got to work with clay, although I'd worked with Play-Doh and things like that. But then I just thought, I wish I could do this the rest of my life.
Did your parents or someone else encourage this?
My parents encouraged all kinds of art. All of us are artistic, but we just thought it was normal because we're always been that way. All of us were, so we didn't think it was any a gift, anything unusual. We made everything that we had. We didn't have a lot of money, so if we wanted something, we had to make it. So we made all of our presents. I mean, we had all of our clothes. We knocked out walls.
And here's a $64 question. When was the first cast bronze, and what was it?
It was a reclining nude, and it was in 1995.
Did you have to fork out the money yourself to do it?
Yeah, I did have to fork it out. And I still have it, too.
But we don't want to sell it now.
I would like to sell it. If anyone would like to buy it, they can buy it.
Now, when you're setting up to make a bronze, so you do the plaster, and you carve it, and you then have to make a wax mold, is that right?
Well, I set it up with, I usually use a wire armature inside, and then I make it with plasticine, which is a modeling clay. It's an oil-based modeling clay. It never dries. So you can work on it. It'll be hard enough to not be damaged, but you can work on it for 10 years or 20 years and refine the details. And you don't fire it. You have to have a mold made of it, which is done at the foundry. They make a mold of it, and then that mold is made with silicone rubber, which is a liquid when they first start it, and it has a catalyst in it, so it becomes hard. And then when that hardens, they have a mother mold that goes around it out of plaster. So then when you open it up, it's a 2-part mold or more, and inside will be the negative shape of your sculpture. And they'll take out your original clay sculpture and screw it back together, and then pour wax inside of there, liquid wax, roll it all around and drain it out of a hole in the bottom of it. And then you'll have a hollow version of your sculpture, exactly like your original piece. Yeah, for every single one. And then each one of those, I have to clean each one of those waxes with hot tools and a Bunsen burner.
Oh, just to finally do it before.
There's always little bits that ooze out of the mold sideways, or bubbles come in there. The nose might be off, the fingers might be squashed, and you have to sculpt it again in wax, which is very difficult to do. But once you do that, then they make another process, a ceramic shell over that by dipping it into a glue. It's called a slurry, and then they dip it again into a vat of sand, which is really silica glass, ground down really fine, back and forth about 8 times, and then fire it in the kiln at 1650 degrees, and then melt out all of the red wax. And then once the red wax is melted out, then you have the hollow, heated up ceramic shell, which is really like another mold. Then they pour liquid bronze into that, so it's like lava. It's red hot bronze. Been heating up since 4 in the morning, and they pour about noon, and it's heated to 2,500 degrees.
So it's not just the cost of the bronze. You got to figure in the cost of all that work to make the negatives and the positives, and then the sound of it.
And then after that, when they want to get it out of that, they have to let that harden and dry, and then use pneumatic tools like jackhammers kind of thing to whack off that ceramic shell. Then they have to clean that shell with...
Don't try this at home, folks.
Yeah, sandblast that. Then they have to weld on different parts and use a Dremel, which is a high-powered tool, to grind off any imperfections. And then heat it up with a blowtorch and apply different toxic chemicals to create the patina, which is the finish. And then you have a custom-made base they drill through, and they have to screw it into the base.
Do you want to hear about my attempt?
I do.
This is an embarrassing thing. I actually took some liquid plaster of Paris about 2 years ago, and I lay it on the bathroom floor and poured it with a sheet of polythene over my face to make a face mold, which would have been okay, but I forgot that plaster of Paris, when it sets, gets hot. And I was having trouble breathing at the time anyway, and suddenly this thing getting hotter and hotter on my face, and I finally said, enough! And it was okay, it worked. I got a negative image, and then I poured more plaster of Paris and made the positive image, and cleaned that up, and I still have it at home. But I've never gotten to make it into bronze. Exactly. This is what we do for art.
Well, I heard you can do that. Put straws in your nose so you can breathe. So you don't panic. You really can breathe in your mouth. Yeah, it's hard.
I was bored, and I had some spare plaster of Paris, and I thought, oh, go on, do it. And afterwards, I was having second thoughts, but it came out okay.
Well, that's very good. I'm impressed.
So now,
Vaseline on your face first? All right.
No, I think I may put some on afterwards.
Yeah, you have to have a parting agent. Anyway, well.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to take lots of pictures of your stuff, and we're going to put more web videos up for you. Okay. And also the Heifer.org interview and the Heifer.org banner advertising on the top. Visit the site, pay the money, give the money to charity. Thank you again.
I would like to say that Heifer, I feel like such kindred spirits with Heifer, because I feel a real close relationship between people and animals, and they do too. And all of their catalogs really reflect a lot of my work. I have a lot of my work is animals or people holding animals, or the relationship between them. And that's why I got the idea of having my show this year be for their cause. So I hope that people will donate to them. Thanks.
Bye.